Welcome to Build Out with Jim Kunkel, your go-to broadcast for learning more about business in the real world. Your host, Jim Kunkel, who is an accomplished professional in business development, sales, and marketing, and is a technical content creator along with being a rising influencer on LinkedIn. On Build Out, you'll get the latest information and knowledge from subject matter experts from across the globe. Okay, let's get this Build Out broadcast started. And here's your host, Jim Kunkel.
Welcome to Build Out with Jim Kunkel. Today, my guest is Marc Broussard. Marc, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me.
You know, Marc, before we get into today's conversation, could you do a favor for the viewers? Could you provide a little background about yourself, your professional background? Talk about some of the mentoring and other activities you do. And the most important thing I want you to cover is you being the ambassador to Scotland.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, it's hard to go back that far and explain everything, but I've been multifaceted throughout my career. Every couple of years, I matriculate into a new industry. That way, I'll be a master of many things. I started out in the world of navigation and then in the marine service industry, and then moved into robotics and then into infrastructure, which I am in now. My current role as a director of business development, I handle plant and refinery recycling and demolition, where we come in and see what kind of valuable assets are still available, put them back on the secondary market, and get that property remediated for future use. I'm also, as you said, I am an energy ambassador to the country of Scotland, where we help Scottish companies come into this market space, show them the culture, help them with the clients, just get them squared away to know exactly how to do business here in the United States, and vis-a-vis help American companies find grants and opportunities in Scotland and the greater UK.
You know, the other thing too that was very impressive is your background dealing with PTSD and also the your involvement with the Love Hope Ranch. Could you talk a little bit about the ministry?
Right. So I am an ordained minister, and I sit on several boards for PTSD and Veterans Affairs. Love Hope Ranch, I'm the chairman of the board. It's a great operation where we use equine therapy to help veterans who are struggling with PTSD role play with horses, because a lot of these tier 1, tier 2 guys don't want to talk about their feelings. So the horse gets them to release some of these pent-up emotions and get out some of the problems that they have and find relief.
So let's go ahead and we'll cover regarding mentors for business development professionals. You know, a lot of times I'm asked the question related to business development and having mentors, you know, what's really in it? And a lot of companies, as you know, Marc, including probably companies that you've worked, I know companies I've worked at, when you're looking to kind of mentor, have somebody paired up with a seasoned professional, it's more about really kind of imprinting onto the younger professional in business development or sales, you know, those key skills, and also too some of the experience that the senior person has. You know, how critical is it for companies and organizations to really have a mentorship program when it comes to business development?
Well, to me, it's paramount, right? Because you need to have your employee fitted for your role, right? I'd rather have someone with enthusiasm than experience, because I can teach them experience. Give me somebody who's passion, who is an evangelist for your brand, and then you've got a true salesman. You've got somebody who's really going to move your market. I mean, to me, that is the best role for any person, is where we can train them and mold them into what you need them to be.
Yeah, I like how you use the word evangelist, because a lot of times, you know, in my current capacity, you know, I'm not really selling a product or a good. I'm selling actually something that's very different, and then getting it into specifications and things like that. So a lot of times I use that terminology where I'm trying to, as an evangelist, go out there and educate, inform, and then also have people kind of follow the principles and also the programs that my organization and I work for to adopt them within their specifications and projects and things like that. There are certain skills that you develop as a business development person, and as you grow in your professional career, where the mentor really comes in is they've gone through a lot of that trial experience. You know, they've tested a lot of the activities that go on out there. You know, as a mentor, what are some of the key experiences that you would like to transfer over to a younger professional that might be under your mentorship?
Well, I think the biggest thing is never give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Walls are meant to slow you down. You can either go through them, go around them, or go over them. So a lot of times people feel defeated because they're not getting a response, especially in this day and age where people don't respond to phone calls or emails. Get out in front of them. One of the tactics I like to use is, hey, I'm in your area. You're available for lunch or coffee. And I could be 4 hours away, but I will jump in the car and red eye over there, right? You find a way, use psychology to get in front of people without being nefarious, of course. And just keep trying, keep bugging them. You never know what that person's going through, what kind of quotas they're having to meet. And it may seem like it's disconcerting that they're not responding to you because you have your quotas and your bosses are hounding on you. But keep trying and find new avenues. I think the best way is to find synergy with someone they know and get a warm introduction, get a group luncheon together, and that usually breaks a lot of ice because you're pre-vetted by your accomplice.
Yeah, the real life experiences are super critical. When I first started, I was in my mid-20s when I started into sales career, and the gentleman who was I was paired up with, the mentor I was paired up with, was much older. He was actually near retirement, and he was going to hang it up in a couple of years. And what he said, after we worked together, and I had moved on, but we did keep in communication. He said that he had learned a lot of what I picked up from university and also from some of the training that I was doing as a trainee for the company I was working for. So he thought it was a great experience also too for he himself as a mentor to learn what's going on out in the industry, what are some of the new things that are going on, because he had been that lifelong salesperson. So it's a lot of times with the mentor and the mentee, it's a two-way street as well. You have mentored people. Do you feel that that's a fact that you learn a lot from a younger generation when you work with them?
Oh yeah, well you have to be relevant with the younger generation, right? Because it's a burgeoning new world. So if you get stagnant and stay in your beliefs, then we'll die.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the difference. When I first started working in sales, it was 1989, to see the drastic changes that have happened in the principles and techniques and the ways you go about not only prospecting, but also securing new prospects into clients and the conversion, but also too in the sales cycle and the fulfillment. It's just interesting to see how things have changed drastically. Yourself, myself, we're in the field type of sales executives. We like to get out there, grip and grin, go to conferences, meet people. And 2 years ago, as you have well experienced, and everyone watching this episode, we went through a pandemic, and we're still kind of moving our way past that pandemic. How hard was it for a transition for you to go from that physical daily activities in the field to going virtually? Did you have any transition issues?
No, just the fall off from the calls. People just got reclusive, right? And that was the biggest issue. So you had to think of new ways to reach out. I mean, in the military, the veterans listening will understand this phrase. You got to be semper gumby. You always got to be dynamic. And you got to figure out new ways to get in front of people.
So let's go ahead and let's talk about some of the measurable benefits from mentorship programs. And with business development and the mentorship aspect of it, they have really long-term benefits. And some of those benefits include, the first one I would come to my mind is, knowledge and skills development. As a business development professional, if you were mentoring a younger professional, what are some of the key knowledge areas based on your industry? And that's okay if you do cover your industry. What are some of the key knowledge areas that you would recommend a younger professional in business development to achieve or to look into?
Well, there's a lot of, with the advent of the internet, right? There's a lot of information at your fingertips. There's databases out there like 811 Call Before You Dig that you can get in there and see all kind of information, all kind of OSINT data, where you have contact information. You know what projects are going on. You're able to really dig into areas of intel to really get your message out there, to get in front of people. People you'd never meet, people you never know. I think there's a lot of information out there that you can get at your fingertips nowadays. You can usually get login sheets for trade shows. I mean, there's so much information. And I just say dig. Just keep digging, keep looking. There's information out there if you just try hard enough.
So we covered about knowledge. When it comes to skill sets as a business development professional, what's your number one skill that you would recommend a younger professional getting into business development achieve?
I think the biggest thing is is tenacity. Just keep going, keep trying. Show grace to those who ignore you, who don't respond to you. I think it's funny. I've had guys that I've called on and haven't responded in 2 years, and the minute they get laid off, I'm the first guy they call because they know you're connected, right? And you have to just laugh. It's like, okay, how can I help you? Right? You got to show that grace.
Yeah, I think when it comes to that, not being fearful of things, prospecting was always a thing that was a fear of mine as a younger professional. And how I got over it, I started getting into a Sandler training system, and 4 years of that. But I remember, I think within the first couple of months, we were doing a group speaker, on the just basically open speaker calls, prospecting calls with a group of other professionals in my training class, and we were actually cold calling on companies to see if we could go ahead and figure out, basically try to get to the decision maker. And it was interesting to do that in front of a group because this was a good way to get over that fear of dialing and doing cold calling. And today, there's so many, there's so much AI available. There's so many, like you said, the internet. LinkedIn, for example, there's so many resources available that were not available, let's say, 15, 20 years ago. So, those skills development are critical, but being fearless is definitely, I think, a very important skill to develop as a business development professional. The second thing that came to mind when it came to a measurable benefit is increasing engagement. The more you are engaged, the more opportunities will come your way, and that means those opportunities potentially could be closed into business, either short term or long term. Now, many business development professionals might not be focused on transactions, but revenue is going to be a very critical element of our activity as business development professionals. But also, too, sometimes we're looking for long term. We're looking for engagement that gets us into partnerships, maybe it gets us into new markets and things like that. When it comes to engagement, what are some of the recommendations you have when it comes to, let's say, for example, when you are making those connections and you're looking to, let's say, you're going to meet, what are some of the things that you would recommend a young professional focus on related to engagement?
Get out in front of people. Get to networking events. Create your own if there's none in your area. Go to trade shows, even if they're dissimilar industries. You never know who you'll find. You never know what problem you can solve. Get in front of people. I mean, you go to a trade show or a networking event, you're going to see 50 to 2,000 people if you play your cards right. That's better than any door knocking you'll ever do. And be charismatic. Be a solution provider. Don't just pitch your wares to see what is their problem and how can you solve that problem. How can you connect the customer to a solution that you may have or know of. But just get in front of people. I'm part of a networking group called All Field Connections, which is it's energy related, not just all field connection related. And they actually have meetings in your area. We've built this out where people come to us to as a rally point for mentorship and for guidance and just general networking.
That's a good point with networking. Networking is so critical because the connections that you do make could be real pivotal depending on wherever your career goes. But the other thing is depending on too, one day you might have an opportunity that kind of surfaces, and your connections network is going to be a valuable resource for you, maybe to make things move forward. I've experienced that myself, where having the right connections help sometimes make things move faster. And fruit into revenue opportunities. The next benefit that I had come up, based on research had identified, was improving morale. That's a benefit of mentorship programs, and I think as a young professional, you don't want to be thrown into a role and not have a good understanding of it, or if you're new at it, you're trying to figure out exactly what needs to be done, how it needs to be done. If you have someone who's been there, done it, and has that experience and real life opportunities working in that role, it gives a great benchmark for that young professional. So morale is really important as well.
Right.
What are some of the morale activities that you have done as a mentor with a young professional?
Mostly it's emotional, right? Just build them up, show
Mm-hmm.
them that they're doing a good job. I mean, you can incentivize them as much as you want, but you really just want the support. Be there when they need you. Go with them to these meetings when they're uncomfortable or they're insecure. Make time to answer all their questions, even if they seem, redundant and mundane. You just, keep building them up. Build them up psychologically. Build them up emotionally. Make sure that they feel strong about the brand, strong about themselves. Because if they're insecure, they can't sell your product. So you want them to feel empowered.
That's a great point. Make them feel empowered. In the last benefit that I had identified was in leadership development. All companies and organizations are very successful when they do have clearly defined leadership. Let's say the survivability of the organization or the company, and building up that next generation of leaders is critical. Mentorship programs in business development give a great opportunity to not only identify candidates that should be viewed to go into higher level management and operational positions, but also potential leadership when it comes to the executive side of a company or organization. What are some of the, for you, when it comes to leadership development, is there anything that you do recommend? Is it going to be any type of trainings or organizations, associations to belong with, or activities? Do you have any recommendations for a young professional related to that?
No, not particularly. Just find out what is the best networking events and groups in your area, and be a member of that. Get out there and be charismatic. It's really all I can really think of. I'm sure there is some good training out there. I don't know of any. I've done well with mentors over the years. I mean, when I got out of the field, it was nice to have someone show me where to go, who to talk to, and that was worth its weight in gold over than sitting there and reading the manual or trying to figure it out on my own.
Yeah, that point the young professional in a clear direction that's going to have success. That is a great way, not to call it a shortcut, but any way to save time or cut the cycle down to figure out exactly again who the prospects are, who are the decision makers, and where those opportunities lie within any market that you might be working in. For our last segment, let's talk about implementation of business development mentorship programs. And the first thing, obviously, as a company or organization, if you're going to have a formal mentorship program, and let's focus on the aspect of business development, you're going to have a kickoff meeting with the team, explain exactly what the program is going to entail. The other thing, too, a consideration could come in is, as a company or organization, maybe you're looking to bring in internships as well. And internships are a great way to look for new candidates to bring into the company or organization. It's also a great way to help that individual learn more than what they're getting from a university or whatever school they might be going to. And then the other aspect of it is you can get some very good productivity from a lot of the interns. So having a mentorship program and then having an internship program sometimes can go hand in hand together. But having that kickoff meeting and really going through the whole program is important. The second aspect of it is clearly defining the roles and responsibility of the mentor and the mentee. What are some of the, let's say, what's the one or two top responsibilities of a mentor?
Clarity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be able to get the message across to them, help them understand the value add. So, and the value proposition to get out there in front of the client, to give them your book of business. It's your job to open up those doors for them to help them grow. Show them who you need to talk to. Show them what to be said. Like I said, just be transparent with them. Help them grow and not have anything nefarious in the background. Like for promotions or anything else. You just want them to be the best they can be.
That is a great point because they are going to be those. And the other thing too is if you, as a successful business development professional, you're looking to move onward and upward, and it's a great opportunity with a mentor to have them set behind you to kind of fill in your role when you get elevated. And the other thing too is if you're going to be running a team and that mentee is going to be on your team, you're going to know a lot about them going into that relationship and that setup. The next thing is, drafting a clear and real focused playbook. And, a lot of people talk, you hear, plan your work and work your plan. It's the same thing with a mentorship program, that you want to have that documented fully of what goes into the program, what's the important aspects of the interaction between the mentor and the mentee, what are some of the KPIs, and what are some of the final outcomes you're looking to have. Have you have experience in working in and around formal documented mentorship programs?
No, not necessarily. It was just been a passion of mine to help others. It's to minister in me to help give back. Make sure that I can pay it forward to those who coming up behind me. There's no use dying with all this information. So I want to give it out to someone else who can use it, because I succeed when others succeed around me. It's not just about me. We're in a society. We're a commune, basically. And I want to see everybody do well, because you never know who you help out. I know I can give you a short story. I had someone reach out to me about being in the sales. They were a process engineer. And I was explaining to them, said, well, just shadow me. We had a big event down here called OTC, which is the largest oil and gas trade show in the world. I said, just shadow me. Just come with me and just shadow me everywhere as I go, hear what I talk about. That's the best way you'll learn, right? And then I got laid off a couple of years later because it's the oil and gas industry being the way it is. And I was applying for a job at a big petrochemical refinery for sales. And lo and behold, the person I mentored was in the sales department. So I reached out to them, and they put in a good word for me. So you never know if you pay it forward how it comes back.
Yeah, I like that aspect. It's almost to do unto others as you want them to do. The golden rule: do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Pay it forward, and a lot of times you can't have that. You never know what down the road might happen with that connection, with that relationship. The next thing is, continuously promote best practices when it comes to different industries. There's best practices in there, and those are super critical to make sure that you are aware of, you're practicing yourself, but also you need to make sure that you stay ahead of the curve. And I think what having a generational mentor-mentee type of relationship, it can help out where maybe the younger professional, they're reading up on latest techniques and activities that can be done. We, again, talking about the pandemic, we went to a blended where people were working from home, people were in the field. Moving forward, it looks like we're going to do a combination, a blended type of combination going on. But obviously, I think a lot of the tools when it came to AI and a lot of the virtual stuff and the online tools that most professionals picked up during the pandemic, that's going to be staying as best practices also moving forward. And the last thing that I wanted to cover related to the implementation process is, to measure and qualify the value. Plus, the other aspect of it is showcase small victories. And what I mean by the showcase of small victories is this is a great time to celebrate those victories as a mentee, as they achieve certain things, to help them recognize that what they've done contributes to the company, to their organization, but also it shows others that are in the program that we're going to celebrate success and we're going to learn from failure. When it comes to that aspect of it, what are some of the things that you would recommend when it comes to celebrations? How would you celebrate some of these victories with your mentees?
That's hard to say. I just give them adoration, right, and show them appreciation for all the hard work, because an opportunity can be waiting in the wings for many years. I had a call the other day from a guy I reached out to 3 years ago. Still had my number. I don't even work for that company anymore, but I put him in touch with him. Just have patience, and those things will come in, and then you celebrate those little things that, hey, I did get through this guy. He just was non-responsive.
Good. Mark, I so appreciate this opportunity to have a conversation with you. So, how can people get in contact with you? LinkedIn, social media, websites.
Yeah, there is the only social media I do is LinkedIn. You can find me there. It's under Marc Broussard, just like it says on the screen. You can't miss me. Look exactly the same. My our website is fegrp.com, FE Group. There you can reach out to us there, and just remember, no matter what, don't give up. Keep trying, and especially if you're better and you're struggling, give me a call. We'll work through it. We'll battle buddy it up.
Excellent, excellent. Mark, thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
I hope you found value with today's Build Out broadcast. Make sure you connect with Jim on LinkedIn and subscribe to his YouTube channel. This way you'll be notified on new live streams and when new content is released. Please give today's broadcast a like and share with your connections and colleagues. Thanks for watching, and please visit buildoutproductions.com for additional content and to join the mailing list so you can keep updated on other streams and quality content from the creators on the Build Out Productions team.